Well, this year's Black History Month comes with a lot of questions, more frustration, stronger calls for change. And those calls are being answered, but more needs to be done on a much more permanent scale. Agapi Gasessa joins me now. Agapi is the Executive Director of the C Center for Young Black Professionals. Agapi, great to have you back on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Talk to me about Black History Month. What does it mean to you?
I think Black History Month is really an opportunity for people to learn about the richness and diversity of the Black community and really around the history that isn't necessarily taught in schools or anywhere else. I think for people of color, for Black people, I think it's an opportunity for us to celebrate. And, you know, at our organization, we look at it as an opportunity to educate ourselves on how we can inform people better. And also for our own selves this month, we're kind of taking a look at civic engagement and the Black vote and what that means for us and educating ourselves on issues.
And
so,
sorry, I was going to say, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but as you, like, to your point there, it's got to go beyond just the month, beyond what we're learning in the classroom. And so much has happened over the last several months to reignite that recognition and those calls for change. How critical is that?
I think it's very important. I think we cannot say that we're saying Canadian history when we're not telling people the full picture. And that doesn't, you know, exclude Indigenous peoples as well. I think there's a rich history, good, bad, and a little bit of ugly, that we need to be able to address and understand to the full extent so that we understand why, you know, particular populations are where overrepresented in areas that we don't necessarily want to be.
What kind of conversations then do we need to be having?
I think we need to be having conversations about what we're going to do to level up the playing field. And I think when we have these conversations about diversity, really understanding what that means, it's important for people to come with their entire lived experience. And I think it also means for us to be able to really embrace and understand where each other are coming from. I think that's it.
That's really key there. So what does that then need to look like? As we've talked about needing to have those lessons in the classroom, but it's got to go beyond that. So what do you think that needs to look like, you know, in industry, in the boardroom, you know, corporations and whatnot, business? I mean, you know, that larger picture.
I think that across the board, and I keep saying this about the pandemic, but we have a very unique opportunity here to figure out how we're going to merge out of this pandemic and how we're going to, it's not just about getting, you know, Black employees into your organization. It's about creating strategies from your vendors list to the employees that you bring in, to the donations and where you're putting your donations, where your employee engagement is being, you know, put into. I think we need to look at it from all aspects of business, all aspects of in the education system. We really need to dismantle what we know now and figure out and have a clear strategy as to how we're going to ensure that everyone's story is told.
Yeah, no, certainly. Are you feeling motivated, hopeful?
I feel optimistic. I think in the beginning of the conversation about diversity coming to the forefront, I think people were really, you know, didn't know what to do. And I think the challenge for us now is really figuring out what are sustainable, concrete steps that are going to move into 2022, 2023 and beyond, that are sustainable, that are continuously pushing this envelope and not necessarily leaving it to 1 month or leaving it back in 2020.
It's always great having a conversation with you. Agapi Gasessa, Executive Director at the C Center for Young Black Professionals. We'll talk to you again soon. And this conversation, as you say, needs to keep going. Thanks, Agapi.
Yes, for sure. Take care.
You too.